Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, I am the one and only Pac-Man here once again, and I am back for yet again for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong Land 3 for the Game Boy / Game Boy Color for those of you who lived in Japan during 2000. So last time, we have basically managed able to complete everything in terms of primate planes. And today, for this video, is the fact that we're about to be moving on to the third world in this game, known as by the forms of Blackforest Plateau. So, yeah, things get a little bit more interesting as far as this is concerned. So, anyways, let's begin with Rocketeer Rally. So, and if I recall correctly, we've pretty much gone back into that pretty much a familiar level theme ever since in Donkey Kong Country 3. Which is, of course, unfortunately though, here we have the waterfall levels. So, not a big fan of these kinds of level themes though, just because, much like the forms of the exactly the same issue as I have from the likes of the forms of Donkey Kong Country 3, that basically, every time you fall off the level, like specifically in any of the waterfall levels, you get able to climb all the way back up again, and as a result, it can be pretty tedious at points, especially noticeable. It's actually going to make things a little bit harder from the likes of the forms of how it does it on Donkey Kong Land 3, specifically if you ever try to play the game on Super Game Boy, or the original Game Boy for that matter, just because, well, luckily for the Japanese version of the game, for the Game Boy Color, thankfully it makes the entire level a lot easier, because what makes the actual waterfall levels kind of difficult sometimes, to be more specifically, if you're trying to able to see the rocky structure, basically all those enemies have been blended into the background, so because of that though, that might be a little bit of distraction right there, or maybe specifically because of how in fact, well, relatively speaking though, I think that's as far as I can try to say about this for the most part, so... anyway, and also we've actually stumbled across that familiar rocket barrels ever since and during the course of, well, Donkey Kong Country 3. So because of that though, everything else gets a little bit more relative at this point, especially because, well, it's just the fact that we just don't want to able to go fall off all the way back to the very bottom of the level and then you have to keep on climbing back up again, and it's just not that very fun if you manage able to keep on, you know, messing up jumps or just anything else really. So either way though, at least thankfully we've already managed able to found the first bonus area. Oh no! Yeah, that's what I mean right there. Oh, and by the way, similar to the forms of how it does it in Donkey Kong Land 1 and I think Donkey Kong Land 2 as well, if you dare fall off from the highest height in any waterfall levels, basically though, you die instantly if you somehow got off screen. And as a result of that kind of stuff though, that's the prime example about the fact that I'm not a big fan of those waterfall levels in the, not only in terms of Donkey Kong Country 3, but also this game as well. Well, at least for the most part, it's a little bit tolerable, I guess, but it's just a sheer factor about the fact that sometimes you might able to actually mess up your jumps every once in a while, but still, it can be really obscure at certain points, but still. So, yeah, a few things we want to explain for this point today while this is going on. Today's date is, of course, the 10th of September today, in this case in 2022 today. You already noticed about the fact that, well, recently, for those of you who lived in North America, well, happy 23rd anniversary of the release of the Sega Dreamcast for the Americans release. So because of this though, yeah, I can't believe that particular system has been now turned into 23 years old, specifically in North America. Whilst we will see the 25th anniversary of the system itself, specifically in Japan anyway though, until next year in 2023. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, yeah, there's not much else to explain about this. And another thing is worth mentioning for this point as well, as far as you, some Nintendo fans, including some of our fans for the Mexi Toys YouTube channel have already noticed, is the fact that recently, oh yeah, before we get into more details on this though, you see that Kremlin over there? bounce onto him, and in that way, not only does it grant you to able to get into that particular rocket barrel, but also it actually leads you straight into the bonus area. So that might be something worth noting for if you really want to do that particular technique. So yeah, you probably get the idea about that. And once again, we are collecting stars. So either way though, we'll obtain the B coin as much as we can. Because as a result, you probably get the idea about that. So I've no idea why I said this multiple times already, because to be honest with you, everything else about the forms of today's discussion feels a bit more self-explanatory for the most part right there. It's just the fact that, wow, I could have wished I wasn't able to mention more details on that right now. But of course, unfortunately though, my computer keeps lagging again, so because of that though, I'm still meaning to able to try to fix that at some point, but I digress. So yeah, as you probably already know, ever since during the course of it yesterday, that recently, you know, Splatoon 3 just recently came out just recently, and yeah, I'm still enjoying the game so far, even though it might be seems more accurately like an expansion to, well, let's just say Splatoon 2, except the fact that, well, the biggest difference is this time is that it takes place in a different environment and stuff like that, as far as I can usually tell from this point, so... But usually, relatively speaking, that's as far as I can try to explain about this, so... Anyway, so let's move on to the next level, which appears to be Vegeta Forage. And because of this though, we're going back onto the forms of a cliff environment level, ever since in, you know, Donkey Kong Country 3, except the fact that for whatever reason, it just goes all like, I don't know, windy or raining, I have no idea. Although I'm guessing it's probably like raining because of the forms I see those raindrops, so... If I'm not mistaken, but either way though, I think that's as far as I can try to able to compromise by saying this. But anyway, first bonus area on this level is pretty simple to find. So, once again, we're collecting stars all of a sudden, so... Gee, it feels more accurately like a common thing for its bonus areas department, I guess. But either way, though, I guess as far as usually the case. So, anyway, so let's just go ahead and where's the last star? Oh, right there. Except the fact that I just got hit right there. Right as soon as I'm able to actually obtain the final star. So, hopefully we'll start again, and hopefully I should succeed. So. I don't know about you, is it just me or is it just every now and then that certain bonus areas can get a little bit harder than necessary, but either way though, we'll just get off these little ropes there and get ourselves another B coin, so we can pretty much expect how this is going, so yeah, I suppose another thing, that Mexi has forgot to mention about, including ourselves, for the sake of the forms of, you know, the forms of in the Mega Man Marathon 2, that, we totally forgot to mention about that one important element where it comes to the forms of gaming releases and stuff like that. Well, I'm referring to as the forms of how the fact that, yes, recently, that ever since about a month ago, that I suppose we forgot to talk about ever since during the course of it, not only for the majority of the Mega Man Marathon 2, but also the conclusion of The Simpsons Hit and Run, and heck, even especially noticeable with the forms of, you know, Maxi has forgot to mention about from the likes of in Super Mario 3D All-Stars and the Super Mario Galaxy game, in addition to when Tiana she also forgot to mention about from the likes of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX Let's Play. Recently, finally, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has finally received themselves the second pack of the actual DLC. So because of this though, yeah, about time they're able to actually finally get that thing released. And as a result of that kind of stuff though, despite I just got hit by that very well placed cramp trap right there, just because, again, certain stuff has been blended into the background, but hopefully we should probably start again. So, at least at the very least though, I can at least manage able to use Dixie Kong for the majority of the time, so it makes things a lot easier to manage, so... Oh god, I completely forgot about that enemy over there. Yeah, if you dare touch that particular barrel thingy right there that I just somehow managed able to climb through, basically though, you're probably gonna get screwed if you get hit by it, so... Yeah, I guess that's totally obvious, so... Anyway, so let's just go ahead and use our ponytail and finish the level like, as usual. So, nicely done. So, yeah, not too shabby right there. Alright, Polo Pitfalls. And I get the strong sense of feeling, not only does it take place in new forms within the wintry level, but it's also going to be filled to the brim with like, you know what I mean, pitfalls and stuff like that, which I was gonna able to speculate and stuff like that, which I'm not exactly sure how can I explain this, but either way though, it knows what it is, I guess, so. And I suppose that the reason why Tiona, she actually forgot to mention about something related to the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC Wave 2 recently is probably because of the fact that she actually mentioned something related to the actual sales numbers for the sake of the forms of Nintendo Switch's lifespan so far as the forms of specific updates as in at the end of June. So because of that though, yeah, hopefully we'll able to see what happens during at some point in the next couple of months ahead. To be more specifically, sometime in November, that we're able to actually see some more sales numbers for certain Nintendo Switch software as far as this is concerned for the sales numbers in terms of the forms of not only software, but also the system itself as well. And during at some point during this November, which I'm sure that we'll mention something more details on that as soon as we're able to just, you know, get away with certain parts like that, so. But, anywho, but actually, kind of think about it, before you're able to actually mention something related to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC Wave 2, before I mention more about it actually, recently as soon as I found out that maybe at some point during this month anyway, that we were able to see the first time ever playable showcase for the sake of the forms of Sonic Frontiers, specifically in the UK only at EGX. So because of that though, because recently they've somehow managed able to mention that ever since the new forms have been July so far, wow, that was usually almost like 2 months ago, that recently that they're expecting able to see the actual Sonic Frontiers playable gameplay for the first time ever to experience, and during at some point, usually in the 22nd of September, all the way up to the 25th of September. So because of that though, yeah, it should be pretty exciting, all things considered, especially because, well, it seems pretty obvious now we've actually already looked up on you know, certain gameplay trailers, in addition to the Nintendo Direct mini trailer for the sake of the forms of Sonic Frontiers, and now we'll hopefully try to able to see the expansive playable gameplay during the course of the forms of the UK, EGX, presumably. So either way though, yeah, in addition to that though, is the fact that recently, they actually got themselves I'm not gonna lie, a pretty awesome artwork of the forms of Sonic Frontiers so far, which it turns out is actually gonna be, well, the actual, cover art, well, I'm not exactly sure if they're able to actually do the box art just yet though, but hopefully they will do at some point, possibly by the end of this year, if roughly, that, basically, what the image just shows us is the forms of the actual, Starfall Islands itself, in addition to the forms of Sonic is actually grinding on rails, which, gotta think about it, the actual artwork itself, it does kind of reminds me of, like, the front box art cover, for the sake of the forms of Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. You guys get it? Because, you know, in the front cover of, you know, Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, that shows us Crash Bandicoot to somehow manage able to grind on rails, for the sake of the forms of travel to different parts of the actual, like, the portals and stuff like that, so. Yeah, it seems totally understandable, so. And as you can see, we've somehow managed able to get onto another sheep shop, but this time around though is the fact that every once in a while, is the fact that certain, sheep shop segments can get a bit tricky at times, especially noticeable. You always have to able to be hurry on this part, especially because, again, if you're low on time, basically you're not going to get any rewards, in addition to the DK Hero coins for sure, and on top of all that stuff though is the fact that, well, relatively speaking though, well, you can still technically get the DK Hero coin for sure, but it's just the fact that in order able to actually complete it though, well, you must be sure you need able to get all of the pairs until you're able to get one of those watches and stuff like that, which I think I should probably discuss more details on that specific details later. So anyways, now we're done with that, and now let's move on to the next level, which is Surface Transient. Which I think, relatively speaking, is another river level, so yeah, I honestly felt a bit kind of speechless at this point because, as I mentioned this before, the computer keeps lagging all the time, and because of that though, hopefully I need to try to fix that at some point still. Especially because this is getting a lot more aggravating than the forms of how it does it on just anything else for that matter, so it's just so annoying to me, but that's as far as I can usually try to think about this for the sake of time though, so... Anywho, yeah, let's get to the forms of that discussion that I was able to try to mention to you guys about this. That is the forms of, yes, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, Wave 2 just came out just recently about, you know, about a month ago. And recently, they actually got themselves some pretty interesting track choices between, Turnip Cup alongside with the Propeller Cup. So I believe one of them is actually involves around on the Super Nintendo game, alongside with the Nintendo 64, the DS, and also Wii, Game Boy Advance, and even in addition to a new track as well. So first off we have is the Turnip Cup, which basically they brings us into New York Minute, in this case the very first Mario Kart Tour track that's ever created. And as a result though, it makes sense to be able to actually have that in there. Even though some people might seem a bit upset about this, especially noticeable, they really hoping for Moonview Highway from the likes of Mario Kart Wii, originally from the Special Cup. But unfortunately though, it doesn't seem to happen anytime soon. Well, we still got about, well, I'll save that conversation in a second. So in this case though, yeah, that's New York Minute. That's now been confirmed for the Mario Kart 8 DLC Deluxe Pack. So yeah, that's basically about it. And the next track they did reveal to able to bring back, and that's what appears to be Mario Circuit 3 from the likes of Super Mario Kart. Because obviously, in addition to able to like bringing that track back ever since in well, let's say technically speaking, since Mario Kart Super Circuit, but also Mario Kart Wii, and recently Mario Kart Tour, and now we have another variation of Mario Circuit 3, but this time on the Nintendo Switch. So, well, I'm gonna say, it feels a little bit more detailed, to say the least, but either way though, enough said though, because either way though, let's move on to the next level, which appears to be, relatively speaking though, yeah, I was gonna save my game quickly first because just want to see how much percentage we've done. So again, forgive me about the forms of you know, a very awkward commentary at this point, but I'll promise you guys, during at some point and during tomorrow, I will definitely try to fix that issue again. So with all that stupid computer lagginess again. So alright, next level we have is Tundra Blender. And once again, we're going back to a snowy theme level. So ever since in Polo Pitfalls, so yeah, it makes totally obvious for that sake of time, right? Yeah, so anyway, the next track they did revealed for the sake of the forms of Turnip Cup, and that's what it appears to be Karimari Desert, which, get it because of how the fact that ever since in Mario Kart 7, that's they managed able to bring that particular familiar track back from the likes of Mario Kart 64. So, at the very least, this is our, I would say the third time they did somehow manage to bring that track back. Not gonna say, the visuals looks a lot more detailed. Especially noticeable, it's like, almost like, I don't know, kind of like a mashup between the original than the likes of how it does it on the tour version, because the problem with the tour version to me though is just feels a bit too much plasticky. But at least the visual style looks a lot more improvements, at least to me anyway though. And finally, in terms of Turnip Cup, we have everyone else's fan favorite track from the likes of Mario Kart DS. Yes, Waluigi Pinball is back. So yeah, pretty cool. Especially noticeable that much like Karimari Desert, this is the third time they managed able to bring back Waluigi Pinball at the very least. So yeah, that's pretty exciting all things considered, because I always enjoy Waluigi Pinball, and it's actually good enough about the fact that for the first time ever, that, well, relatively speaking though, that certain Nintendo characters, specifically Inkling Boy and Inkling Girl, and heck, let's not forget ourselves with the forms of Link, and heck, even with the forms of the Animal Crossing characters as well. For the first time ever, they've now finally get a chance to experience Waluigi Pinball. Although I'm pretty sure it'll follow exactly the same track as the forms of Wario Stadium that was already remade from the likes of Mario Kart 8 to begin with. So yeah, that's actually pretty cool and dope and everything. especially now we've finally managed able to get ourselves the Waluigi racetrack, but now this time with gorgeous HD and no need to worry about the awkward controls unlike this godforsaken mobile phone game. But I digress. And yeah, that was it for the Turnip Cup. It's pretty cool to able to see that particular tracks again, specifically Karimari Desert, along with the forms of Waluigi Pinball, and yeah, that's pretty cool and awesome. Now, as far as the Propeller Cup, as far as this is concerned, first off we have a Sydney Sprint, which is obviously based off from Mario Kart Tour, and that's where usually just somehow managed to take place in Australia. And not much else to say. Pretty glad able to actually see that track in action though, even though it has been sort of mentioned about the forms of certain speculations and stuff like that. So as a result though, at the very least I was quite grateful when it comes to that particular track returning. So anyway, so let's go ahead and move on to the next level in this particular world. This what appears to be by the forms of Redwood Rampage. So of course we're going back into the tree environment. So ever since in Nikki Mischief, so yeah, ever since in the second world, relatively speaking. So yeah, there's not much else to say about this for this point. So and the next track they did reveal from the likes of that particular cup is, surprisingly enough, a returning track from Mario Kart Super Circuit, which are referring to as Snowland, which is pretty cool if you ask me, because back in forms of by the end of July, whenever they first managed able to show us the actual snow track to begin with, everyone seemed able to fault themselves about the fact that they were bringing back Vanilla Lake from Super Mario Kart, but it turns out it was actually Snowland instead, from the likes of Mario Kart Super Circuit, which, honestly, I don't mind about this, actually, to me anyway, though, just because, well, it's just the fact that hopefully we're able to get more representation from the likes of the GBA race courses and stuff like that, which is always pretty awesome in my opinion, so, yeah, I guess that's that. And the next track they did revealed is the forms of Mushroom Gorge from Mario Kart Wii, so it seems pretty obvious they're able to bring that back, because after the events of the Mario Kart Tour variation of that particular track, so yeah, it seems obvious, because it's especially noticeable how apparently some people still are not a big fan of the forms of the art style with all that DLC tracks to begin with, but it doesn't bother me too much though, but I know for the fact that it does bother a lot of people, especially noticeable after that, you know, the superior gorgeous visual style from the likes of the base game in Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U and on the deluxe treatment as well. So it's just the fact that it seems, you know, super weird when it comes to likely changing the visual style for a bit, so. And the final course they've got bringing into, and that is entirely brand new, which, for the time anyway though, which later on they'll brought it back until Mario Kart Tour roll around, yeah, no surprise there. And that's what appears to be a very unique track design, which appears to be taking place something related to ice cream or just ice lollies in general, Sky High Sundae, which, I will say, it does look pretty cool. Like, especially noticeable, I get the strong sense of feeling that this might actually be the only Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC track they did reveal so far. I think so far this is the only track they've got when they managed able to emphasis on the forms of anti-gravity, so yeah, it seems pretty cool though. Especially noticeable that we've been waiting for that for quite some time, as we said this before. So either way though, yeah, I guess that pretty much summarized the forms of that particular discussion about, you know what I mean when it comes to the forms of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC Wave 2. And so far, I'm actually having a lot of fun with the game as well. Or to be more specifically, had a lot of fun with the actual pack itself as well, despite how most people complain about the forms of the art style still. But again, it doesn't bother me too much, I must say, but it's just the fact that it can be a little bit more of a, take a while to get used to routine, I suppose, but at least it knows what it is, I guess. And also, I do apologize with the forms of that particular, as I said, the actual commentary itself as well, just because the amount of edits we got to deal with for the sake of the forms of for the majority of any other Let's Plays coming up, or, to be more specifically, the continuation on this, alongside with the forms of, you know, The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX, that we have to do a lot of, like, you know, massive edits to do, and it's just a bit too much of a busy work, I'm telling you. It's just way too many emphasis on busy work, I guess, but at least it knows what it is, I think it was, anyway. And there we go, we've somehow managed able to get another B coin, so yeah, it's nicely done and everything, so anyway, so let's just go ahead and continue things on with this particular level before we hit on to the next boss as far as this is concerned, so yeah, it might seems a little bit more familiar because since we are actually onto the tree level environment, so my guess is the fact that we might as well stumble across that particular familiar boss from Donkey Kong Country 3, which, as far as I'm aware, let me just hit on to the end of the world map. As you can see, we actually stumbled across ourselves Orange, in this case Orange Attack. Oh boy, that particular familiar boss, huh? Although, except the fact the matter is though, is the fact that while relatively speaking he has like lesser amounts of hit points compared to the forms of how it does in the original Super Nintendo counterpart, at least as far as I can usually try to say about this for the most part, but I digress. So I think the entire battle plays out kind of like the forms of how it does in the original counterparts, except the fact that this time around though, that in order able to actually deal the damage on the forms of Orange, is the fact that as soon as we decide to able to dip down, basically it's your chance to able to jump on him. Although, unlike in the Super Nintendo equivalent to that particular boss fight, at least as far as I can usually recall correctly, that basically though, I think you have to use the barrel in order able to deal the damage on him. So, yeah, although I might be mistaken, because it's been about, I would say, 6 days ago since we actually last played this. That's only another reason why that it's been a very long while since I actually did done so in my commentary on this particular Let's Play so far for Donkey Kong Land 3 as far as this is concerned, so... Although, the only hardest aspect about this boss fight to me though is dodging those projectiles, I could assuming so. So, yeah, there goes Orange right here. So, I guess suffice to say, I think we should probably end things off at this point right here. So join me next time for more of Let's Play of Donkey Kong Land 3. That is the fact that we'll move on to the 4th world in the game, known as Great Ape Lakes. So this will be interesting, so I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later, fellas.